Meow and hello. Yours truly, the cat protector, Noel Rosen, with ISIS, and you are watching Paws on Politics. And we're taking a look at the presidential election because, hey, that is the big talk right now out there. And we're going to start off with this. Now, it's been a week of videos surfacing. First, there was the one where it suddenly surfaced on the internet that Mitt Romney was giving a talk to a bunch of supporters. Now, a hidden video was shown that has him talking about the, 48% of the Americans that are on some sort of governmental assistance. And we're not talking about those that are receiving benefits because they were a veteran or because they were government workers. We're talking about 48% of Americans that do not pay taxes and are getting government assistance. Well, the video did not lie, and it was embraced by Romney's campaign as the fact that he was talking about building the wealth in America, putting people back to work and earning their wealth, earning their success, instead of having it handed to them. Now, the liberal media jumped all over him for those words. Meanwhile, another video, audio, has surfaced that basically shows state senator, he was then a state senator in Illinois, Barack Obama, talking about redistribution of the wealth. Gave a talk at Loyola University back in October of 1998. Well, the liberal media is not reporting this, but it's gotten out there on Fox News and in the blogosphere. Listen to this.
Let me just close by saying, as we think about the policy research surrounding the issues that I just named, policy research for the working poor, broadly defined, I think that what we're going to have to do is somehow resuscitate the notion that government action can be effective at all. There has been a systematic, I don't think it's too strong to call it a propaganda campaign against the possibility of government action and its efficacy. And I think some of it has been deserved. Chicago Housing Authority has not been a model of good policy making. And neither necessarily have been the Chicago Public Schools. What that means then is that as we try to resuscitate this notion that we're all in this thing together, leave nobody behind, we do have to be innovative in thinking what are the delivery systems that are actually effective and meet people where they live. And my suggestion, I guess, would be that the trick, this is one of the few areas where I think there are technical issues that have to be dealt with as opposed to just political issues. I think the trick is figuring out how do we structure government systems that pool resources and hence facilitate some redistribution, because I actually believe in redistribution, at least at a certain level, to make sure that everybody's got a shot.
Now, I don't know about you, but I would rather work for my money. But Obama's plans were pretty clear, both when he was running for president in 2008 and once again, now that he's running for re-election. He still insists that the wealth be redistributed. And, that kind of thinking is, socialist thinking, and also helped give rise to the Occupy Wall Street movement, which is almost now completely dead. Not totally dead, but almost completely. There are still sparks of this, as they recently celebrated 1 year of the Occupy Wall Street movement, which was a socialist movement made up of many different people expecting, that hardworking Americans that already are working and earning a living and prospering hand over some of their money. That's the Obama plan, socialism. Meanwhile, both candidates have talked about small business. Now, Governor Romney has consistently now touted small business as being his main part of his platform. Take a look at this ad that was recently produced by the Romney campaign.
My plan is to help the middle class. Trade has to work for America. That means crack down on cheaters like China. It means open up new markets. Next, got to balance the budget. You got to cut the deficit. You've got to stop spending more money than we take in. And finally, champion small business. Have tax policies, regulations, and health care policies that help small business. We put those in place, we'll add 12 million new jobs in 4 years. I'm Mitt Romney, and I approve this message.
Now, that video actually certainly shows that he is wanting, well, free enterprise to be, well, built up to the point where they're succeeding, where they can hire more workers. They've shifted their focus now, both of the candidates, away from the Middle East, although the Middle East is still on people's minds. Now, we all know Obama lied about the Middle East and what was going on and what happened in Libya when 4 Americans were killed. But back home, it's a different battle. It's the battle to save the economy. And, well, if Romney wants to win in the upcoming debates, because there are debates that are upcoming, he has to be, well, less of the nice guy. Now, it's good for a candidate to be liked by the people. But Mitt Romney still, in some people's minds, comes across as the friendly guy. And, well, that's great. But it's now time to attack the president on some of the mistakes that he has made. We have over $16 trillion in debt towards the end of Obama's first term. As it gets closer, as near his first term. And many people are questioning, where will he be in 4 years? Now, there's a lot of people that do not want socialism in this country. And there's some that, well, don't seem to mind Obama's socialist agenda. As long as they keep getting a check from the government, that's fine with them. But both camps now trying to reach out for the independent vote. These are people that are actually sitting on the fence or wavering one way or the other. Now, Romney has to win some very key swing states. These are states that actually either have high manufacturing or they have small businesses that, well, are still struggling, and there are still Americans that are collecting unemployment that want to be off it. So there's places like Florida and Ohio. And in Florida, many seniors actually retire to Florida, and they're worried about Medicare. However, there's more at stake than just Medicare. There's other things as well. Getting people jobs. That comes from private industry, which both camps fail to mention. But yet they will talk about building small business. Now, some recent polls have come out, and you can't always trust the polls, but a recent Rasmussen poll, which is what we're going to go with, has the candidates pretty much set dead even in this race. Surprising enough is the fact that, well, Romney isn't running away with this. Now, he is looking like a nice guy. And as the presidential debates get closer, he needs to take some lessons from quite a number of people out there. He needs to not attack Obama on his personality or character. He needs to attack Obama on his policies. Now, we have one video actually from a Republican candidate that's running here in Arizona. maybe Romney could actually take a lesson from Vernon Parker, who's the Republican nominee who's running for Congress in Congressional District 9. Now, this video show is probably one of the more bolder that we've seen, right, Isis? And this congressional candidate shows much force in his ads. Not too much force where he's, seen as a really bad guy, but enough force to say how he feels. And he stands behind his convictions. Take a look at this ad from Vernon Parker's campaign.
America is facing a crisis. The federal government borrows more than a third of every dollar it spends. More than a third. It's unsustainable and it's immoral. As mayor, I cut spending by 30%. In Congress, I'll stop out-of-control spending. It's going to take guts, leadership, and conservative values to fix this crisis. It's time we get started. I'm Vernon Parker, and I approve this message.
Now, I've seen a lot of ads in this election. And maybe Mitt Romney might want to contact Mr. Parker on what he needs to do in the presidential debate. Maybe he can get some tips from Parker on how to handle Obama. Now, as you could tell from that ad, Parker, well, he shows toughness. He's a nice guy, but he shows toughness. He shows his convictions and how he feels. And it comes across. That's what Mitt Romney needs to do in this debate. Instead of attacking Obama on his character, which most candidates, when they try, always end up coming up the loser, Romney needs to attack Obama on his policies. And he needs to be tough about it, from the time he's asked that first question to the end of the debate. If Romney keeps after Obama on his policies, and he shows just how tough he can be, he has a chance of winning the debates. But he needs to keep at it. Now, it's great for a candidate to want to be liked, but in debates, people care more about the facts than whether or not they like a candidate. They want to, well, of course, feel like they have some kind of connection with the candidate. But people during these debates want to hear about the issues, and they want to hear the candidates answer to a lot of the important questions. If Romney takes it to Obama, and he's able to show that he can stand toe-to-toe with him and produce the facts on how he's going to create 12 million more jobs and how he's going to build the wealth in America, well, he may end up winning the debates. You see, Obama is arrogant. He's expecting not much of a challenge. But if Romney produces a challenge, it'll catch Obama completely off guard. And, well, you've got to be able to show that you can get in the ring, take the gloves off, and box. Not by attacking character, but by attacking policy. And if Romney can very much become a winner in this election if he continues that toughness after the debate. We're going to have to see how he does in the debate. But he needs to be tough. That's the important word here. And finally, have you ever wondered what a cat thinks about the presidential election and who they support? Well, we already know who ISIS supports and what she thinks, but our assistant station manager, Icarus, gave his view on the presidential election. Take a look. Well, that's Icarus's take. And, well, he mentioned Fox News as well. Yes, Icarus and I, as well as ISIS, love to watch Fox News. We're not ashamed to admit it. We enjoy it. And if you noticed, some of the names of some of the people that were mentioned are on Fox News. You know who you are if you've actually watched the video. But if a cat's willing to cast their support for Romney, shouldn't we? After all, they've already given 2 interviews, both Mitt Romney and Barack Obama, this past week with Univision. There was a town hall at the University of Miami. Both candidates were asked questions. And Obama continues to want to redistribute the wealth. Meanwhile, Romney feels that the best way to build the wealth of America is to, well, increase it. We need to build the wealth in America, not knock it down. Be successful and celebrate success. And, you know, he doesn't want to redistribute the wealth in America. He wants to build the wealth in America. That's what Romney's campaign has been about. So, Governor Romney, are you ready for the debates? Are you willing to take it to Obama? Are you willing to press him on the issues? Well, obviously, a lot of Americans still believe in you. But are you willing to be a fighter? That's what it's going to take to beat Obama. Not being so much the nice guy. Senator John McCain tried that in 2008, and the only one that was really willing to press Obama was his running mate, Governor Sarah Palin. And back then, I think that if we had run Sarah Palin as the Republican nominee, if the Republicans had her represent both Republicans and maybe a few independents out there, she'd be sitting in the White House now. Well, it's a very daring election, and there's now a lot of excitement. There's a lot of people that are actually talking about this election. While Obama would give himself an incomplete in the way he's handled things, Mitt Romney would rather, well, not give himself a grade quite yet. He hasn't even gotten into the White House. And yet, he's acting more presidential than, well, Obama is. Well, we might need a businessman to help, well, build the wealth in America back up. We've lost a lot. And the government's printed money and spending money, well, where we can least afford it. Now, another thing that's hurting the economy is Obamacare. Though its full effect won't take place until 2014, it was snuck through as a tax, which means small businesses will have to decide. Do they lay off workers in order to pay for it, stop hiring workers in order to pay for it, or simply knock full-time employees down to part-time in order to keep their businesses afloat to pay for it? I've heard a lot of talk from people who say, well, Obama's plan is only going to, if you got 50, employees or less, you're not going to really be affected by Obamacare, but you are. Because once it's been snuck through as a tax, well, sole proprietors will have to decide whether or not they can, well, keep their businesses open. They may have to raise prices. That's another thing with Obamacare. The raising of prices in order to pay for medical costs. It is going to be tough. And both candidates have refocused. They're getting away from the Middle East, which is still an important element in this presidential election. There have been at least 25 countries that have had some kind of uprising. Yes, protests against America and our ally Israel. We've also had some deaths too with our ambassador to Libya and 3 other Americans being killed in that attack. Now, Obama's administration was not calling it an attack for a while. Then finally, when the intelligence briefings came out and it was shown that it was a terrorist attack, well, Obama still continued to blame the video and spending $77,000 of our tax dollars for ads in Pakistan to, well, apologize for America's position in the world. $77,000 is a lot of money. So no wonder our country keeps getting broke. He keeps pandering and sending money to the, well, radical Islamist nations, the radical Islamic nations that hate us, and they hate Israel. And, well, it also carries weight in the economy. Because when you spend $2 billion of our money in places like Egypt, where really it's being handed to terrorists, it's $2 billion that our country doesn't have to spend on its own people. Now, we're not asked, maybe that is Obama's plan, giving $2 billion to Egypt. Is that considered redistribution of the wealth? It certainly is. We have to support allies, but, well, Obama can't decide whether they're an ally or an enemy. The State Department seems to think that, well, Egypt's an ally. But allies don't attack their friends. They attack their enemies. So we are seen as an enemy now, not just in Egypt and Libya, but in many parts of the globe. Now, the economy has also taken a beating. We've had, well, jobs shipped over to China and other places overseas. And the 4.5 million jobs that Obama said he created, well, where are they? They weren't created in this country. More than likely, those went overseas to make another country's economy richer, while we got, well, poorer. It's tough times. So we need to get a president in there that is actually willing to build the wealth of the people. And Mitt Romney certainly has shown that he has. He's invested money in companies that have become, well, they've made millions. Obama would rather invest our money in our government, making it larger. Now, when government gets larger, business and private enterprise tends to get smaller. That's not a great plan, especially when people need jobs. And only private industry can, well, meet that expectation of somebody getting a job. Now, Governor Romney has said that he will create 12 million new jobs in the first 4 years that he's in office. Well, that remains to be seen. First, we have to put him in office. And that's going to take dedication from Americans willing to stand up for their country. The question is, are you ready to take that task on and take our country back? That's the question that most Americans are going to have to ask themselves in this election. And it starts off by casting your ballot. So, in conclusion, get out and vote. Are you going to vote to take America back? Or are you going to vote for 4 more years of Obama and see our country continuously spiral into socialism and go completely downhill? The choice is yours. Well, that's all the time we have. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Paws on Politics.